Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode, of the show here. And today I got a pretty interesting topic for you guys. And the topic is why the Toronto Raptors will absolutely dominate in the first round against the Brooklyn Nets. So that's what I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also make sure you hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop and drop our content. Now, also, again, if you want to check out this show, we're also on the Dreamerspro Podcast, which we're going to have linked in the description below, so you guys can definitely check that out on Spotify. As I said before, we're going to be on iTunes shortly, so that will be there as well, so you guys can definitely check it out there. Now, a few things to get out of the way before we get into the video. For the newcomers, I want to welcome you guys to the channel because we have some new viewers here. And for all of our community members that have been there, all this time, I just want to cover some quick things going into the playoffs. So tomorrow we're going to be releasing. Excuse me, I just have a bit of a cold this morning. Tomorrow, we're going to be releasing our playoff prediction videos. We're going to be doing the Eastern Conference and we're going to be doing the Western Conference breakdown. So that's the best we're going to do. We're not going to do it in one long episode because it's going to be too long. So we're just going to break them into two separate episodes. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow when we drop that, so you can catch it before the playoffs begin, because the playoffs begin tomorrow. So you already know, the Dreamerspro predictions. So we already had that out of the way. So that's what's coming tomorrow. Now today, I just want to give you guys sort of a quick appetizer, so to speak, about the Toronto Raptors going against the Nets in the first round. Now, as I said before in this video, I believe that the Toronto Raptors are going to dominate this series. First of all, the Raptors have the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. They've been consistent all year long. They have a 53-19 record, which gives them one of the best records in the league. And they actually had even a better record than the Lakers. The Lakers have a 52-19 record. But, the Toronto Raptors have a 53, and so they won one more game. I'm not sure what the reason is because of that. And the Brooklyn Nets are the number 7 seed with a 35-37 record. Now, let me just say this about the Brooklyn Nets. They recently beat the Clippers. Now, granted, the Clippers didn't have their full complement of players available to them, but the one thing I did notice about the Brooklyn Nets in that game in which they played against the Clippers was that they played with a lot of energy, especially on the defensive end. And if you look at the team, for the fact that they've been able to even make it into the playoffs as the number 7 seed with both of their best players not even available really, and Kevin Durant not being there and Kyrie Irving basically not being there, for them to be able to still make it to the playoffs in the Eastern Conference is it's impressive. And the team plays very hard, and you want to tip your hat to them. But in this particular matchup, I think that they're going to be completely out of their class. I think the Toronto Raptors are much better than them, simply because the Raptors have been consistent all season long. Although they lost Kawhi Leonard, but their key player, the player that Masai Ujiri refused to trade for Paul George, improved. Pascal Siakam this season is averaging 22.9 points. So let's just say 23 points a game. He's getting you 7.3 rebounds and 3.5 assists. So he's even putting up better numbers than he did last season in the playoffs. Last season in the playoffs, he played 37 minutes a game, got you 19 points a game, shot 47% from the field, which is pretty good. He shot 28% from the three-point line. He attempted 4.3, making 1.2. He shot 76% from the free throw line. He got you 2.8 assists, 7.1 rebounds, and 1 steal and 0.7 blocks. So looking at his numbers this season, you can see that he's clearly developed. All of his numbers pretty much have gone up. Points, rebounds, and assists have all gone up. So that's a good sign for him. I think that for the Raptors to be as successful as they want to be, he needs to continue to play at a very high level. Now, let's say the team leader in Kyle Lowry, who's probably been there the longest, is averaging 19.4 points a game, 5 rebounds, and 7.5 assists. Last season in the playoffs, however, he averaged 15 points a game, shot 44% from the field, 36% from the three-point line, 80% from the free throw line. He got you 4.9 rebounds, 6.6 assists, and 1.3 steals. But the thing to note about Kyle Lowry is that Kyle Lowry plays winning basketball. If you watch him, he's very, very gritty. He will get on the floor and dive for the loose ball. He makes a lot of winning plays, and that's something that I saw a lot from him all throughout the playoffs last season. Granted, he was playing with in my opinion, the best player in the world last year in Kawhi Leonard, but he came up pretty big. Now, if we look at the Toronto Raptors roster, they have Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, who was a dynamo last season in the playoffs, and he really hit some very, very clutch shots for the Toronto Raptors en route to them winning the NBA title against the Golden State Warriors. Marc Gasol, who I think they picked up at the trade deadline, played big. Then you have Serge Ibaka, Matt Thomas, Norman Powell, OG Anunoby, Stanley Johnson. Excuse the noise in the background. Somebody's showing that they have a fast car, whatever it is. So they have a pretty good roster. Now, if you look at the Brooklyn Nets, as I said, they're devoid of their best players in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, but they have Karis LeVert, they have Spencer Dinwiddie, who's a really good player, by the way, Jared Allen, who's a great defensive player and rim protector. You have DeAndre Jordan, Jamal Crawford, who they were able to sign into the bubble. They have Joe Harris, Tyler Johnson, Chris Chiozza, and it goes on and on. Now, looking at these two teams, if both teams were completely healthy, you would say the Brooklyn Nets have more talent because of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. So, but they're not. But they're not available. So, with that being the case, I just think that they're missing too much talent, and them missing their best players and some of the best players in the world, certainly in Kevin Durant, it's not going to help them against the Toronto Raptors because, although they play hard, I don't think it's going to be enough because I think the Raptors are on a mission to three-peat. I think what they want to prove, this particular Raptors team, is to prove that one, they've sort of discovered the formula to winning, and two, that they can win without Kawhi Leonard. And I don't think it's going to be an easy feat, though, later on in the playoffs. And even if they were to face, let's say if they were to get to the NBA championship round, if they were to face the Clippers, I would still pick the Clippers because I think Kawhi is too good, and I think the Clippers are the deepest team in the NBA by far. So that being said, though, I do think that they're playing with a purpose, and teams that are purpose-driven generally tend to play a little bit harder, generally tend to outcompete the competition. Now, as I said, the Brooklyn Nets, those players, they play very hard. That goes without saying. But the Raptors play hard and they play smart, which is a difference. I think a lot of teams, some teams play hard, but there's some teams that play very, very hard and they play very, very smart that have a really good they have a very, very good coach as well. I think coaching is going to play a big role. Nick Nurse is a very good coach. He's one of these coaches that seems to be able to keep his demeanor under pressure. If you look at Stan Van Gundy, he's infamous for being whenever things are going the wrong way, he just becomes very visibly befuddled and he just lets you can see that the things that are happening around him really get to him, which I think has an adverse effect on his players. If the players see that their coach is panicking under pressure, they're going to panic. Is one of the things that Shaquille O'Neal, four-time NBA champion, said about Stan Van Gundy. That listen, you're a great coach, but you're always panicking, you're always crumbling under pressure, and you let your players see that, and it affects them in a negative way. Nick Nurse seems to be the complete opposite. Nick Nurse doesn't seem to have those type of reactions. Now, the thing that I did notice about him, though, is that when things go well, he celebrates on the court. He gets pumped up. If you listen to his sound bites in the huddles, he's always giving his players good encouragement. And I think that he understands how to get through to people because coaching, yes, it's an X and O's game, but it's also about your emotional intelligence and being able to read people and sort of treat people according, treat people as individuals. You don't treat them in a uniform way where everybody follows his rules. You speak to all of them the same way. He understands how to get through the different players. And I think that's one of the things that the Toronto Raptors have working in their favor. So for me, as I said, the Brooklyn Nets are going to play hard, but the Raptors play hard, they play smart, and they have one of the best coaches in the NBA. And that's the reason why I think they're just going to be able to overwhelm the Brooklyn Nets in the first round when they play against each other. So these are my thoughts and opinions on this series as it gets started. Now, if you guys enjoy the video, please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and make sure you hit the notification bell. I also want to get your opinion on the last video we released with the Toronto Raptors, why they may shock the world. So we're going to link that in the end of this video. So please make sure you guys watch that as well, and let me know what you guys think on that if you haven't seen that video already. So please make sure you go ahead and watch that. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.